I mean, great to see you. Thanks for joining. I think it's very cool to hear a little bit about you and also a little bit about the meta-driven framework and the functionality. I read a lot, I used it, and I think it's really cool, but it's also kind of complicated. But you might want to start with a short introduction from your side.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias, and thank you for joining the show today. My name is Erwin de Kreuk. I'm a data platform MVP from the Netherlands, working for a Microsoft partner in the Netherlands as well. Uh, and yeah, cool. Yeah, I built the Fabric Metadata Driven Framework. That's always been my part of my journey with Azure Data Factory and Synapse. And I thought, okay, I need to have something in combination with a new Fabric SQL database, everything native on Fabric. So that's one of my goals. Well, how can I build all the stuff as native as possible so that you can easily deploy it and easily maintain it?
So it was quite a journey. When did you start with the project? Was it a long time ago?
When I started with the project, I think, yeah, so we have a commercial solution as well in our
Mhm.
company. And I think that the whole project already started like 5 years ago.
Wow.
When we started to build a simple framework for our customers. And this is like a smaller version of it, which people can run in the community. I think as an MVP, you always add stuff to the community, like speaking, but also like blogging or social media. But I think also building new tools and new solutions will also help to start with Fabric. I think, and that's the great thing. The framework is not like for enterprise companies. It is as a start where you can start using it. You can start understanding Fabric, and I'm of course maintaining the framework. But the goal is that you, as a data engineer or a developer, should start building or extend it yourself, and that you have a base of it instead of having to build everything from scratch, which costs you a lot of money because I think I invested a lot of time.
Yeah.
And now you have a base where you can start. It's flexible. You can extend it wherever you want to extend. If you buy a framework, then you have or it's less extendable than you want to have maybe. If you have to build it, you have a lot of high front of cost, of course. And now you have a basic, you can start, and it's all up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that sounds great, to be honest. When do you think is the best time to start with the framework? Should you do it during the architecture and planning phase, or should you start with some poking for yourself, and then once you are a bit more sure about the final solution, you should bring the toolkit in, or
Yeah, so I think there are two approaches, like for POC or a pilot, that you can see. Okay, I don't want to build everything from scratch. So what I will show you later as well. I have a kind of design for the Fabric infrastructure. So we have, of course, the infrastructure like workspaces and lakehouses, and we have also the resource infrastructure like the pipeline and notebook. So it's great stuff for POC or a pilot. And if you say, okay, this is the way I want to work, I want to use a development and the test and acceptance and production environment. I want to separate my data from gold and my Medallion
yeah,
architecture, and I want to separate my code. There's a lot of functionality already in. So the way I created it is like for a lot of people usable. So yes, you can start using it for POC, but you also can start, okay, uh, uh, I've looked to the documentation and this is the way how my architecture should look
yeah,
like. So I can start from there as well and then start extending. I think that the same way, if you write down your architecture or you design your architecture, you also want to test it up front to see all the pitfalls in between if everything is working for your
yeah,
company. So then it will is being usable as well.
yeah. Yeah. And there's some ongoing development effort also in the framework, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mm. So when you
there's a
start and you have like a long running project, is there the idea that you like integrate the changes over time, or should do you like pull a copy and
Yeah, so based on the community
yeah,
input, or people who are
yeah,
forking and creating pull requests, I add new functionality. So last week I added a separate layer for gold, I added a separate layer for reporting, I added some more stuff for logging information. So it's also based on my time
yeah,
I have during the evening or in the weekend. Bug fixes I always try to solve like as fast as
yeah,
possible. So hopefully when I'm not on holidays, within 24 hours. If you find a bug, but there's always a discussion: is it a bug for you? Is it a
yeah,
bug for me? Or is it a bug for everyone?
yeah,
Because sometimes things are by design. So on my GitHub page, there is an option to create discussions. There is an
yeah.
option to create issues. So people can add it over there, and then I'll try to fix it.
Yeah, and you can then, when you run the framework on your side, you can then implement the updates right from your Git repo downstream to your project. Or should like the user aware of, I don't know, breaking changes, or what? How, is it running smoothly when there are updates?
Yeah, so
Mm.
everything is downloaded from GitHub
Yeah,
directly. So there's the only thing you
yeah,
need to have, and I can show you in a couple of
yeah,
minutes in the demo. The only thing you need to do is to download a notebook, because
yeah,
we have somewhere we need the
yeah,
communication between GitHub and Fabric, of course. The deployment is done by your user, so not
yeah,
Service Principal support. So Service Principal support will come in later. If there are more connections supporting the service principal,
yeah,
then it will be easier to support the whole service principal support. But the service principal support also asks some extra stuff from your Azure
yeah,
engineer to create a service principal with the correct access rights as well. So normally the setup notebook, you can run it every time. You can run it one time or 20 times, it doesn't matter. You can run it today, and if there's a new version next week, as long the setup notebook hasn't been changed, you can run that all the time, and you will get automatically all the updates.
Oh, that's really cool. And you mentioned that there's like community interaction, you get pull requests and so on. Are there like lessons learned from the community that you remember and say, okay, I didn't thought that this is such important, or this was a really great idea?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I started with the framework. I know because we have a commercial solution
And
as well, and there are a lot of functionalities built in there as well. So I thought in the beginning, okay, I'm not going to build that really uh, on a really large scale. I
yeah,
will start simple, and then people start to ask, okay, can you build something in if I do a reprocessing that only the not executed objects will be processed, and not all objects again. But I had the functionality already somewhere else. So yes, and I said, okay, I will apply it. I know how to
yeah,
implement it. The things, and not everything I can build in directly, but a lot of things are now built in based on the community, and that's what I really like. People are going to LinkedIn and say, okay, I have these and these things. Can you change them? Yeah, please create an issue or create your own pull request, or start a discussion,
yeah,
because then the other members in the community can see it as well. What kind of things has been done or has been updated in the system, and that there was a request of the community. Because I think the only thing is how you can make a toolkit or toolbox is that it will be adopted by the community. It's by the community, and it is for the
yeah,
community.
yeah, completely agree. You mentioned that you started roughly 5 years ago. This was before Fabric came down to earth, so to say. So, just for curiosity, did you how did you experience the switch to the Fabric platform? Was it like a big improvement and made things much easier, or
So in the beginning, when I started this framework, so the previous framework was based on an Azure SQL
Mhm,
database in combination with Data Factory. I think
mhm,
a lot of people were using that.
mhm,
And then switching to Fabric, there was no Fabric SQL database.
yeah,
So implementing this kind of low logic applications, because metadata is not that consuming that much data,
yeah,
uh, uh, it was not yet. So in my opinion, it was like, okay, I can build a framework, but without that Fabric SQL database, there's no use for
Yeah.
it, because then I can still use the old solution, which I was using in Synapse or Data Factory. But now with the Fabric database, everything is native. And that's the coolest thing, that everything is only in Fabric. I don't need private endpoints. I don't need the kind of security on my Azure environment. I need security on my Fabric environment, not on two different platforms. So that was, and then I thought, okay, now it's the time to build that framework. And then I started to build this framework. I presented it as well last year in FabCon,
Yep.
or this release was presented at FabCon in Las Vegas for the first time.
Good.
I will do it again in Vienna next time, but then with the complete new version, because I rebuilt the whole solution using the Fabric CLI. Instead of using the REST APIs, I'm using this Fabric CLI now.
Oh yeah, that's a really cool tool. Yeah, and well, for the zeitgeist, do you are you using AI in some way in the tool set right now?
No, so I think the framework and the ingestion framework, I'm not using AI. The only thing where I'm using AI is like if I want to document
Yep.
my readmes, I'm using Visual Studio Code. I can ask, okay, can you please write it in the way Microsoft Learn is writing the text, or can you write my kind of way of writing my blocks? And building the pipelines is like, I'm not building pipelines with Copilot because it's mostly easy. You use one pipeline, you can copy it, and you can add more new functionality to different kind of sources. That's also the way I want to, that you can extend it, the platform pretty easy.
Yeah, agree. Okay.
So, but it is the foundation for AI. I think if we don't mention AI, it's like good data. AI is only working with good data. So if you have a framework which will run consistent, which will make sure your data quality is higher. Of course, garbage in is garbage out.
Yeah.
But I have the option to add cleansing rules that you can also cleanse your data before it lands into silver. Then your data is already much better, which can be used for AI.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I delivered a session last week exactly about that. So AI is great, but without the right data in the right place and the right quality, it's kind of
A lot of people do forget that. They only see AI is always working. No, AI is working well when your data is good.
Yeah, great one. So yeah, should we jump a little bit into the toolkit and you just take a short tour and show?
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
And then I can show you a little bit. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, so the most important thing, of course, is that I have a GitHub page where you can follow me and where you will see the whole README on the screen, of course. The most important thing is you need to download this setup notebook where you can start. So for this session, I have already downloaded that notebook into my environment. And when I just the only thing you need to do is to create a workspace with a Fabric capacity on top of it, because otherwise it will not work, because we're using the how do you say that, the Python library. So if I go to here, I can click on setup, and then the notebook will open. I already pre-processed everything yesterday evening, so we can go walk through it. Because using Python, it will be a little bit slower than PySpark to execute all the pipelines, and this is due to all the long running operations. In the top, you will see everything what will be deployed. This is actually the whole part what will be deployed. So let's go through it. So first of all, we install the whole Fabric CLI. We need to have some libraries, and this is the most important thing where you will see all the things. First of all, you have to set if you want to use the lakehouse schema enabled or not. So by default, everything is now lakehouse schema enabled. There are still some folks using non-schema enabled lakehouse, so then they should put it on false, of course. The next step is that you have to define the name of your framework, and that's the name you will see later on your naming conventions for the workspaces.
Yep.
and of course the reporting name. In this case, I've added only one workspaces, and then the reporting name, workspace name is finance.
Yeah.
The next step is that you can separate the capacities. For development, the production environment and the configuration environment. If you want to add a test environment or acceptance environment, then just add these parameters as well.
Okay.
I'm clear so far, Matthias?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the next thing is, and this is implemented like this weekend. I heard some feedback from folks that said, okay, you only add one role to all the different to all the workspaces. Now you can separate the roles for the workspaces where all the code lives. So all the pipelines and notebooks. You can define a role for all your data workspaces. You can define roles for your gold workspaces, and you can define roles for your reporting workspaces. And this is just an example. Yes, everything is the same group, but you can add more groups based on your needs. So you can add a member, contributor, viewer, and very important, this ID is the ID of the security group created in your Entra environment, and that you have to ask to your Azure engineer if you don't have access. Then the next part in the configuration is the parameters is the configuration, and that's the workspace where the Fabric SQL database will be stored and where all your metadata will be executed. And then we have the different environments, as you can see over here, where in this case I have created that development environment. Everything is based on the parameters, as you can see, how everything will be deployed into your environment. And very important is that you need to have the Fabric SQL connection and the Fabric pipeline connection from your system. So these connections should be created upfront.
Yeah.
Because they are needed into the system to deploy everything. So we have to Fabric the data pipelines. And in the next version, I will also add the service principals for this one. And we have also the Fabric SQL connections. All the other connections, as you can see, I will explain later. Everything which will start with the connection underscore MFT will automatically be added to the framework metadata in a later stage.
Yeah.
Then you have to define the repository configuration. So I'm the owner, of course, the name and the branch name. And that's actually everything you need to have. The next step is that there are a lot of libraries to download all the folders from the GitHub part. So if you go to GitHub, and that was one of the compliments I got back.
Yeah.
Now you can see in the source files, you can directly see if there were any changes into the system. As you can see, last week I added some new stuff. All the code from the pipelines and the notebooks are visible over here, can be downloaded, but you can also see all the changes which I have applied during a pull request, for which other people have been changed to make the product even better.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So what's the idea with the repository? Is the idea that you clone the repository in your own Git area, or is the idea that everybody uses your repo?
So in this case, everybody can use my repo now.
Yeah.
If you want to create your own repo, of course, then you have to change the part over here.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And then you could make changes if there's something with
theoretically, you can always use my repo as a download, because
Okay.
then you know that everything is working. That
Yeah.
I tested pretty well. So normally you should expect when you deploy it that everything should work. The
Cool.
only thing which I have seen, and I did some Teams calls with some other people as well. If you don't have the correct rights within your Fabric environment, then you will get strange error messages, because you need access to capacity, you need access to the connections. If the connections are created and you have not been added to the metas to the user list, then it's pretty hard to create all the pipelines.
Okay.
So the next step is that we're gonna use your token, because you're logged in. We're gonna use your token as the token to deploy all the stuff. What I just explained, I'm getting all the connections over here from the system. which I can use later on, because I'm deploying all the pipelines to the GitHub. So my connection IDs are in there, and these connection IDs should be replaced with your connection IDs. That's why I said you have to create these connection in advance. Then there are a lot of deployment functions, so don't touch them, because if you touch them, you will get a breaking change, because there is a lot of logic behind the scenes to run this. Even if you didn't create a certain connection, I will mark them as inactive so that your pipeline is still working. So if you didn't create a SQL connection, or you didn't create an Azure Data Lake connection, which is all written down in the documentation, you should the activity will be disabled so that your pipeline is still working. The roles will automatically assigned. There will be item descriptions, the managed identity. So every workspace I deploy through the framework has automatically assigned the managed identity to be used at a later stage for connections as well, which is coming hopefully in 1 month. So there's a lot of stuff here. Then based on that, to load all the configuration. So this is the configuration in the needed to deploy the whole framework in your environment, based on settings which are in GitHub. These are the files which has been downloaded. And then we are in the phase that we're gonna deploy the whole workspace. So as you can see over here, we have workspaces for the code, for the data, for gold, and for reporting. And we are creating a kind of a mapping table. This mapping table is needed to replace the connections in the pipelines or the notebooks in the later stage. So to show you, if I look to the picture, I can show you the workspace overview in here in the GitHub. So this is what will be deployed. So with this action, what I just showed you in the notebook, the workspace over here. So this workspace will be created for data. There will be a workspace created for the code, for the gold layer, and for the reporting, and then for each environment. And of course, there will be a workspace created for our framework. So in total, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then for the production again for 9 workspaces, which will automatically create. Coming back to your question, what you said before, is should I start to use this for a POC or a pilot, or after my architecture design? You can use this workspace overview mainly for your high-level design to show how that can. So
it
now
works
we have
nicely the data mesh approach, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you can even easier extend that data mesh approach, because if you go back to here and you what I always say, make sure that you use this as your hybrid mesh, that you store your data. So here you do all the extraction part, and then you can use one or more gold workspaces or reporting workspaces for your data mesh architecture. And then gold will have like a reference to your silver layer with shortcuts, for example. And then you can create different workspaces.
Perfect.
It works pretty easy. And yes, it can be automatically added later on. So what I said, all the workspaces are created, which I just showed you. Then the configuration workspace is created as well. And all the capacities are assigned, as you can see, assigning workspace roles, assigning the capacity, and creating the managed identity. If it didn't exist, then it will deploy all the different lake houses. Again, but I said, as you can see, I have all the lake houses overview. So I have a data landing zone, I have a bronze layer, silver layer, and gold. And these are the definitions which is done by the code with the pipelines and the notebooks. So this is bronze, silver, and gold are the delta tables with shortcuts to silver. And of course, the data landing zone is based on Parquet tables for like database connections or files based on your needs. Then we will deploy the Fabric database. So there's only the empty database which will be deployed. directly therein. There are some retrying concepts in there because when you deploy a SQL Fabric database, it can take up a couple of minutes before I get the correct IDs back from the system, and I need these IDs to replace later on into the pipeline, so that the pipeline directly knows to which frameworks it should look. Here I will add some more descriptions and update the whole mapping table, and then we will deploy the items. As you can see, it will take like 8 minutes. In that 8 minutes, I'm deploying a lot of pipelines and a lot of and some notebooks. So also over here, I can show you the where are you? Over here, all the notebooks. So we have a landing zone notebook, which will execute the SQL, the FTP, the ADLS, the OneLake, Azure Data Factory, SFTP, with all their copy activities. They are separated because then the logging information is much better. So here you will track how long the pipeline will run, and here you will track what kind of copy activity has been done, how many rows are read and written. Here we have the bronze layer, and that bronze layer will start a main parallel notebook, and then all the execution. So this is handling the DAG file entries. So I can highly process on this one, and that's all running on the same session, of course. So all the pipelines, you can see replacing connections automatically. So all the connections to the correct lakehouse, to the correct data source connections, or to the correct fabric configuration are replaced in there. And then the last step of the deployment, and the whole deployment will run in 15 minutes, is create the SQL deployment manifest. So we will add the connections to the database. So all the connections, what I said, I can find within the environment and where I have access to, I will add into the database. I will add all the workspaces to the database, because then I can run the framework, and that knows exactly, okay, this workspace belongs to development, this workspace belongs to production. I can add I add all the data pipelines to the Fabric database, the lakehouses, of course, and I have a script where you can use demo data for testing the Fabric database. And finally, I deploy all the SQL code into the system. So all the schemas, all the tables, all the views, all the stored procedures, and all the queries I need for logging information. And here I deploy the demo data, and here I do the custom SQL deployment for stored procedures. Then it will execute, and then at the end you will have a list from all the stuff which has been done into the system, and normally you have a success over here. It can happen that, just a tip from me, that you will get a SQL error over here, because then probably you have a too small database to be executed. This can be run, this last part can be run another time, and you can even run the whole notebook a couple of times. The only disadvantage is it will also deploy again all the pipelines. So far so good. Any questions so far? I will show you the workspace lookout and everything what's deployed for you, and then we can continue with questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So if I go to here, you will see that I have a pretty decent structure. The icons, as you can see over here, are in my GitHub repo. So they are in the icon folder. So you can connect them, and I'm working on a solution to get them automatically published as well. Because I think if you see this as an overview for your workspaces, I'm pretty happy because it is clean and it is mean, and it directly says what it is doing for me. So looking to the code, you will see I have a lot of pipelines over here. I have the lakehouse over here as well. You can see the configuration database with all the tables in there. So you will see I have the execution, integration, and all the stored procedures. Going back to that part, I didn't explain to you yet, but if you look to the metadata overview, as you can see, we have an integration layer. So that's
Yep.
the main configuration of all your data. So your workspace, which has connection to a lakehouse, your the connection as a connection to the data source, and the data source is connected to a landing entity, bronze and silver, and then the execution part, and of course all the logging information. The last thing I want to show you is, of course, the data, but all the different layers. As you can see, they are new, so there is no semantic model anymore, because they are now not the gold layer. As you can see, I'm using a lakehouse in this case, and the idea is that you create shortcuts from your silver layer in your gold layer, and then use the materialized lake views to build your gold or your dimensional model. That's the idea behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people say, I do have a database. Can I easily get all that data into my system? Yes, what I've created, I have a tooling pipeline created for you. In this case, the only thing you need to know, I need to know the connection ID. And that's the connection ID you create over here. You have to define the name of your data source, so your database name, the namespace, the kind of SQL, and then you can define all the tables you want to extract.
Cool.
What this copy metadata activity will do, it will get all the data from your SQL database in this case, with all the metadata scripts. So it will extract the primary key values, it will extract the columns and everything. It will be inserted automatically into your metadata framework. So if you can see over here, I'm going to the integration layer, and now I can see the landing zone entities. It wakes up. I think was just rebooted. Not rebooted, but the capacity was resumed.
Yeah.
And then it will extract the metadata. It will look up all the connection. If it doesn't exist, it will automatically be added the entities, and then it will be inserted. So, and that's the same thing in the system. There are a lot of stored procedures over here to upsert the connection, to help you to insert the correct values into the framework. Because there's a lot of parameters need to be filled in. So for example, if you do the bronze layer entity, you have some parameters. So you need to define the, if I want to insert a bronze, I need to know what is the landing zone entity ID, the schema, the name, and the rest. I'm sorry for this. This is not working that fast.
All good. It's always like in cloud, the first user needs to bring some.
So as you can see, the silver layer has a connection to the bronze layer, to the lake houses, to the part. And talking about the data. So if you want to test the whole framework without all the other parts, the only thing you need to do, you show the option you want to load data, is to upload one of the files, which are in the customer CSV files, create a table in customer, and then you can try to start to using the whole framework, because this is going through the whole framework.
Yeah, of course.
And then the last thing I want to show you is like for the bronze layer or the silver layer, we have a process which will, of course, start the logging information, get all the entities from the metadata which needs to be processed. So these entities are only there if the landing zone entity has been processed as well. If there are no entities, then the whole step will be skipped, and otherwise it will kick off that main notebook to use the high concurrency processing. It's all based on parameters, so please don't change that. And this will pass through automatically all the IDs to the doc part, and with a limitation of 50. The only thing you can change is the limitation. Very important to know, I was talking about cleansing functions. The first time you run this process, that notebook cleansing will be created, and then you can start using the cleansing notebook afterwards. Because otherwise, if I create it in advance, it will be overwritten every time. And you have to define your functions in there. So, and then I'm overriding your functions.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, this is actually the whole framework. It's a lot of content, I think.
It's impressive. Yeah.
I know it can be a little bit complicated because you have to understand and you don't have control on what is happening every time.
Yeah.
But the more you're gonna work with it, the easier it will be for you. And as you can see, it's really easy deployment with a lot of way of thinkings behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really cool. Of course, the first learning curve was probably a bit steep. But after that, you have, I think, a really cool toolkit to handle all the medallion structure and keep the process clean. Because otherwise, in the end, you would write part of the code by yourself, and it will get crowdy and so on, like it happened. So everything is really based on metadata. That's really cool.
Yeah, so I really encourage you to look into two notebooks. That's the way how I do the processing for bronze and how I do the processing for silver, because there's a lot of logic behind the scenes. So bronze is more like a copy of the source. So
Yep.
I'm not tracking there. So if you do a full load, automatically in bronze the records will be deleted. And then I do a full load from the bronze to silver. And there's a reason before that, because if the record is missing because of that full load, the record was not there anymore to keep track of the leads. Then I will do a soft delete in silver that you get, okay, this is not correct anymore, or the record has been deleted. So in silver, I store all the historical parts. So if you change your name, your change will be visible into your silver layer. And bronze is like your actual name.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. So you have kind of slowly changing dimensions there then. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. But if I say slowly change dimensions, a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? Yes, we know it. But if I say I built historical layer, customers better understand it.
Yeah, I always say time travel data. Yeah. Okay. Can you say how long this time travel should be available? So like a purging after, I don't know, a year or something?
Yeah. So in the vacuum, you can vacuum, of course, your data.
Yeah.
But the time travel, like, that's stored always there. So that you should build your own manual process for that.
Okay, because sometimes and from the customer side, I know that they want to keep specific time travel points, like end of year or something like that, and the more granular parts can then
yeah, so then you should build kind of a notebook to say, okay, I want to remove I only want to keep record of the last 3 records, and all the other records should be deleted. That's how the process I've built.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. That's really cool. Is the time travel is always enabled, or can you enable or disable it?
It's always enabled for silver.
Okay.
Okay.
That's cool. So you said that at afternoon or on the weekends you are working on the tool and pushing it forward. So do you have like plans for the next weekends or for the next months? Things that you think? Hey,
so what the plans are is to look into to build everything with service principles.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the folks they had some ideas to get some deployment pipelines automatically built in. For example, if they build their own notebooks, that the automatic can use deployment pipelines. So they already one of the guys wrote already a script for me. I said, okay, I will have a look into the integration of that. But yeah, as we all know, FabCon is coming as well. Yeah. So I need some preparations for that as well. And then we have Fabric Friday with data set in Holland. So I need some preparations for that one as well. But to everybody, if you want to have new functionality, put it in as a discussion. If you have bugs, put it in as an issue. I will work on that. But service principles support deployment pipelines, and there was one request. If the record that if you do an incremental load and there is no record, do not write a file or skip bronze and silver. But the disadvantages of skipping bronze and silver is that you have, okay, I've executed 10 landing zone entities and only 9 bronze entities. And if you build it, people understand it. But if someone else is building a auditing report, it says, hey, I'm missing one object, and they're going to look at it. So there's a lot of logic behind the scenes, because you have to write something from logging into bronze and silver while you didn't execute it, if you can understand what I mean. Because you want to have a clean overview, process 10, process 10, and process 10.
Yeah. How about metadata changes? So when you rename a column in source database, is it kind of propagated?
So if you rename a column in a source data, so everything is schema drifted.
Yeah.
So that new column will be arrived, and then the other column will not be filled anymore.
Okay.
So a new column will be added. Okay, deleted columns, I'm not doing anything because I don't know what you want me to do.
So you will end up with two columns. Then it's a server layer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you should manually drop the column if you don't receive it anywhere. Because that's I cannot do that in a framework because that's if there is useful data in there from the past.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's really amazing, and it's a big help. And I'm just spinning my head for you could integrate it and for customer projects and so on. I think it's a great idea. How about error reporting? You mentioned that you have a lot of notebooks and they do a really great logging and so on. But if something goes wrong, is there kind of an alerting system, or what do you propose?
There's no alerting system, so yet that's going to be a new idea. But if there is an error, then that will be written to the logging database with the error details I can find.
You can use data activator or whatever to stop.
Yeah, then you can build a semantic model on top of relating it. So that's also one of the things to start to build a semantic model on top of the logging reporting and build a dimension model. But that's my core. Is more like the whole framework, and hopefully other people will take up. It's okay, can we create this or can we create that?
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's really cool. Thank you very much for that huge insight. I really appreciate it. Yeah. And for all the work, by the way. Well.
as you can see, it was a lot of work.
Yes, it was, but hopefully also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Then thank you very much, and most probably see you at FabCon in Vienna.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and thank you for the invitation, Matthias, and hopefully you get some more interesting people on your channel.
Yeah, I will try, and let's integrate that also in all the Fabric stuff in the third-party world. I think there's a lot of attention on Fabric itself, but there are a lot of really cool third-party tools in the community space that I was mentioning.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.